What's going on, YouTubers? It's the Natural Born Thriller, and excuse me, welcome everyone to WWE NXT UK review, the show from April 3rd, 2019. They're at Coventry, England. Your commentators, as usual, are Vic Joseph and Nigel McGuinness. And parts of this was most likely for what pertains to Pete Dunne and Walter. Their version of the Go Home Show edition for this episode of NXT UK, where it pertains to Pete Dunne defending his WWE United Kingdom Championship against the number one contender Walter at NXT Takeover New York for WrestleMania weekend. The rest of the show was just a build-up for next week's show, and yeah, nothing else to say about that. I did this on the advertisement for the next 2 weeks, from NXT UK. I think it was from NXT though, but when I get to that review, I'll remember. But basically, they're doing a plugin for next week's show, which as far as this week's show, let's get right into it. So we get Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan versus Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bardell in a very decent match. And all I gotta say in this match is that Kenny Williams picked up the win over Fabian Eichner. Another shock win for Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan. They're on the road here. There are winning matches like it's nothing now. And yeah, I guess they're gonna be up in line for an NXT UK Tag Team Championship. But we'll get to that later. But yeah, decent match. Up the show. Wasn't that into the match, but I thought it was decent. Next we get to Ramsey. He was somehow waiting for someone to come into the building, and sure enough, it was Rhea Ripley. And she addresses the whole thing with Piper, Niven. And by the way, I had the name wrong, by the way, last week. I was thinking of someone else with the name Nivix. I think it was Niven. I meant that said last week. But it's Niven for Piper, who's formerly known as Viper. And basically, Ripley said that she left her off easily because it was her debut coming to NXT UK, and then she says that Rhea Ripley says that Piper will be her worst nightmare. So, and speaking of nightmare, she's wearing a T-shirt of Freddy Krueger's claw, and I'm wondering what kind of shirt is that? Cause that looked like a pretty cool shirt. Rhea Ripley I always see her wear some cool shirts. Even one of her own shirts that she's wearing. That you go buy. I'm assuming you go buy on the WWE shop. But yeah, that was the message there from Rhea Ripley to Piper Niven. And by the way, Piper Niven will be making her in-ring debut next week. One of the matches that they were advertising on the show on this week for next week's show. So there you go. We got Johnny Saint and Sis Scarla. They were Sis Scarlin. I decided his last name. But I'll remember it next time. But they talk about the NXT UK. This is huge for them because it's for what pertains to the United Kingdom Championship. Main eventing. I mean not main eventing. Being a part of WrestleMania weekend for NXT Takeover in New York. And also we get Jordan Devlin, who's takes an insult that he's not in the match against Pete Dunne, and wondering why Walter is in there and not Jordan Devlin. And basically said that we would love to have him in the match too, but the match has already been official between Pete Dunne and Walter. The match has been officially signed, with the contract and all that, and that was it. And Jordan Devlin versus but I think he's gonna be next in line for a title shot. You know, if Pete Dunne is gonna lose that belt, then they're gonna build up a new feud between Walter and Jordan Devlin. You know, if Walter is the man to defeat Pete Dunne to end his longest title reign that you know, since the modern era of professional wrestling. I mean, it's no you know, Osuka Okada's record. I'm just saying. Um, but anyways, but yeah, there you go. Jordan Devlin took offense to that too, and he walks off, and that was it. We'll see how that develops next week. Isla Dawn versus Kaylee Ray. This was a good match. You know, obviously it was another showcase for Kaylee Ray. Kaylee Ray is really good, folks, and Isla Dawn is very good too. And the showcase here, both women looked good in the match. The one who was dominated the most was Kaylee Ray, and then you have Isla Dawn doing some very good offense to make her comeback and everything. But Kaylee Ray, she's Smash Mouth type of female wrestler, and I love it. So in the end, Kaylee Ray wins the match, and there you go. Yeah, both women looked good. It was so far one of my favorite matches on the card. So, you know, for this week on NXT UK so far. We get Ramsey interviewing the NXT UK Women's Champion Toni Storm, talking about you know, Jinny, and all of a sudden Jinny comes out out of nowhere and attacks her. They start fighting, and then Jinny gets the better of the fight, which means that Jinny is gonna lose next week against Toni Storm. So yeah, that's another match that's gonna be advertised soon for next week. Toni Storm versus Jinny, with Toni Storm defending her NXT UK Women's Championship. So can't wait to see that match too. That match has been building up for quite a while now, and I can't wait to see how this match develops next week. We got Travis Banks. He did a softy promo about Cassius Ohno, that he looked up to him. That he did some moves that are similar to Cassius Ohno, and he, you know, he always respected him or that. But he's become a new man, a changed man, and he wants to take care of him next week in the ring. So that's another match that's going to be advertised next week as well. I'm assuming it's next week, unless it is in 2 weeks' time for this one. But we'll see. I think it was announced for next week too, but we'll see though. Next we get to the Gizzled Young Veterans, who are the NXT UK Tag Team Champions, which is James Drake and Zach Gibson. And basically they were out there wearing a nice custom-made suit, looking like champions, you know. So basically, you know, Liverpool's #1, Zach Gibson does all the talking out, obviously, and while, you know, James Drake just stands there and look pretty. Basically, yeah, he said he's Liverpool's #1, and he introduced James Drake, and they are the grizzled young veterans, and they are the first ever NXT UK Tag Team Champions, and they basically they talk, you know, they're introducing everything, because they're not basically Zach Gibson's not medically cleared to compete because the whole thing with Orton Lorcan's Orton Lorcan's did to Zach Gibson, where he popped his eardrums and like that. So excuse me. So basically, you know, they talk about people talking about how the grizzled young veterans has chips on their shoulders, and they have every right to have their chips on their shoulders, because NXT UK is you know, and also represents to pro wrestling. They're pushing the wrong talents, like the flippy flips and other type of things he said. And I'm pretty sure someone that's gonna comment on my video here is gonna agree with that too. So anyways, but back to this. So, and also they talk about Kenny and Amir, you know, the tag team that's you know, getting fluke wins that he said, and now that they're back on NXT UK, basically they're gonna you know, everyone's gonna have to answer to the grizzled young veterans, and they said, and he does this all the time, and soon, and basically saying that soon to be noticed as WWE's best right talents in and also represents NXT UK. So yeah, good promo there by Zach Gibson as always, as usual. He was in a suit along with his tag team partner James Drake, his tag team, and the tag team champions, and looked good. And it was a very good promo. Main event time: Trent Seven versus Joe Coffey. Match itself, the main event, pretty good storytelling, pretty good drama in the match as well, for especially where it pertains to Trent Seven. So yeah, a very good main event match. And in the end, Joe Coffey gets to win with by making Trent Seven tap out. Now, I'm trying to remember if he did make him tap out. Yeah, he did make him tap out. Let's think about something else that I've seen, not in WWE, but other wrestling organization. I remember Trent Seven was having some back issue in the match, which is storytelling. Yeah, it was. He did submit to Joe Coffey. Yeah, not remember. I just don't remember what was the submission that Joe Coffey did. So I think it was a Boston Crab, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, anyway, Joe Coffey won the match anyways. And then to end the show, they show a video package of Pete Dunne, the WWE United Kingdom champion, who's going to be wrestling Walter for NXT UK Takeover New York during WrestleMania weekend. And it was a good video package, and and they did the same thing too where it pertains to NXT. Which I'll get to that one when I get to it. Where it pertains to their actual go home shows for their shows. So it's a very good video package too. By the way, it pertains to Pete Dunne, being with his reign of terror, being for being the United Kingdom champion for 686 days and counting, or was it 687 days and counting? But either way, it showcased that, and then showcased Walter obviously with his highlights and everything, and pretty good way to end the show for the go home for to remind us that Pete Dunne from NXT UK and Walter from NXT UK are going to NXT Takeover New York during WrestleMania weekend for the United Kingdom Championship. And that's going to be one hell of a match, folks, which I can't wait to get to the preview of it. But other than that, there you go. That was the show. Toma Wrestling, 3 matches. And my overall story for the show for NXT UK from April 3rd, 2019. I'm going to go 7 out of 10. Good show. That being said, thank you all for watching. It's the Natural Born Thriller saying peace on the streets.